Jaleesa. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We're so glad you're here. Tonight, boys and girls, we are going to be reading a story entitled The Fiery Furnace, coming from the book of Daniel, chapters 1 through 3. Let's get started because it's getting really late. For many years, God's people refused to follow his commands. Because of this, God allowed Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, to conquer the city of Jerusalem. Nebuchadnezzar ordered that the young men of Israel from the royal family be brought to Babylon. The boys were to be handsome, intelligent, and able to learn the language and customs of the Babylonians. Among them were 4 young men who trusted in God. How many young men? 4, exactly. Their names were Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They were put in King Nebuchadnezzar's house to work for him. Nebuchadnezzar was one of the most powerful kings Babylon had ever had, and was also a very evil person. One day, King Nebuchadnezzar built a huge idol that was 90 feet tall and 9 feet wide. King Nebuchadnezzar did not know or care about God. So, instead, he had the idol covered with gold and placed it where everyone could see it. Then a message was sent out to the whole city. All peoples and nations, when you hear the sound of the cornet, flutes, harp, bagpipe, lute, lyre, and all the music, all of you must bow down and worship the King Nebuchadnezzar's wonderful golden statue. Bow down to his statue? Are we supposed to bow down to anyone outside of God? No. Let's keep reading and see what happens. If you do not bow down and worship the golden statue, you will be thrown into a burning, fiery furnace. Oh my goodness. Let's stop there and think for a minute though, boys and girls. If you had to abide by these rules, meaning if you had to bow down to a statue, would you do it? Knowing that if you don't, you are going to be put in a burning, fiery furnace? Stop and think about that. And how would you feel? Would you feel scared? Or would you feel brave? Like, well, I know this is not the right thing to do, but I know that God will bring me out. How would you feel? Turn and talk to your parents for a second and tell them what would you do and how you would feel. Alright, well, let's keep reading. So when all the people heard the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, bagpipe, lute, lyre, and all the music, they all bowed down and worshiped the huge image. Oh my goodness. But some of the king's servants brought some surprising news. I wonder what the news is. O king, may you live forever. You have decreed that when all the people and nations hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, bagpipe, lute, lyre, and all the music, they must bow down and worship the wonderful image you have set up. And if they do not bow down, they must be thrown into a burning, fiery furnace. Did you know, King, that there were some Jews from the land of Israel that work for you? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who do not worship our gods, they will not bow down to the image. The king was furious and sent for them. It is true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you will not bow down and worship the statue? Now I will give you another chance. When you hear the music of the cornet, flute, harp, bagpipe, flute, lyre, and all the music, and you bow down, it will be good. If you do not bow down, I must have to throw you immediately into the burning, fiery furnace. Oh, let's make a prediction. What do you think Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego is going to do? What do you think? Turn and talk to your parents. Now let's see if your prediction was right. But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said to him, "O Nebuchadnezzar, we don't have to worry about answering you. If our God is willing to save us, he will save us, because he has the power to rescue us from the burning fiery furnace. But even if he should choose not to save us, we will not worship your gods or the idol that you have put up." King Nebuchadnezzar was so furious that his face twisted with rage. Make a rage face. He ordered the furnace to be heated 7 times hotter than usual. Oh my goodness. He had very strong soldiers tie up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, still dressed in their official cloaks, their turbans, and tunics. You guys see that? There they go in there. This says, "I put 3 people in the fire, but now I see 4 men in the furnace, and one of them looks like the Son of God." God showed up. He said he'll never leave us nor forsake us. He's in that fire with them. The soldiers threw the men head first into the burning fiery furnace. Because the furnace was so extremely hot, the soldiers that tied the 3 men were killed by the heat from the fire. So they didn't even touch the fire, but just the heat alone killed those men. Wow, it's extremely hot in there. But then an amazing thing happened. If you want to know what this amazing thing is, lean in close. The fire did not hurt the 3 friends. It did not even burn their clothes, and they began walking around inside the furnace. But now there were 4 people inside the furnace. Who's the 4th person? The king was horrified when he saw this and said, "I put 3 people in the fire, but now I see 4 men in the furnace, and one of them looks like the Son of God." The king went to the furnace and called, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out of the fire." Calmly, the 3 friends walked out of the furnace. They did not even smell burnt from the fires they had been in. King Nebuchadnezzar knew that God had saved them and realized how strong God is. Therefore, the king decided to send out a new law in the vast country of Babylon, demanding that no one must ever say anything bad about the God of Israel. Daniel's friends had trusted in God, and he had saved them. Now everybody came to know what God had done on this day all over Babylon. Then the king prompted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to higher positions in the kingdom. Wow, what a wonderful story. That is the end for tonight, boys and girls. And I want you to talk to your parents about what you learned from this story. All right. Before we bow our heads and say the Lord's Prayer, I want to remind you to come back here every night at 8 o'clock for another Harvest bedtime story. All right, boys and girls, bow your heads. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, the glory, forever and ever. Amen. All right, boys and girls, have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.